I'm going to give you my story. This is a little awkward because John McDonald in Boston, the Cleveland Indians, is my twin sister's brother-in-law, which happened completely random. I didn't even know he was coming. He didn't even know it was my company. So, John, keep this to yourself, please. Usually everything is like open for, but I appreciate kind of maybe keeping some of it, sharing it with you guys. Let's see. So I want to share my story. So my twin sister, I think maybe it's obvious she's my twin and maybe not, but is on your left. And my mom and dad is my family. I grew up in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I used to have a really heavy Boston accent. It was, I don't think I have it anymore, but I've been in New York now for 21 years because of Next Jump. So I left my family to do this. Didn't expect to be doing this when we went down to 4 people. It was crazy. I did not expect to be here. I thought I'd be back in Boston a year later, but I wanted to share with you my story quickly. I'll talk about my sister in a second, but my dad, 37 years at Verizon, climbing telephone poles, as blue collar and as manual hardworking as you could possibly get. What I picked up from that is that if you don't work a 100-hour work week, he would say to my sister and I, Erin and Meghan, why bother working? I mean, it was just, we were chambermaids by the time we were 13. I don't even think it was legal. We worked at the Shady Nookin, and God, was it shady? And but I worked my ass off. We had multiple jobs every summer, paid for a lot of school through the process. Well, maybe they don't think it was a lot. I remember feeling like it was a lot. And my mom actually gave up her career. My tag to get in the office, it says Tufts University School of Dental Medicine. Not because I went there, but my mother turned down after getting into that school in the 70s, which was like the best dental medical school in the country, turned that down to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of my sister and I. Best mom ever growing up, and she still is. So a lot of sacrifice from my parents. But what I wanted to share was my sister and I. So she's my best friend, lives in Boston, 3 kids. She gave up her career to actually take care of her kids, just like my mom. And I don't exactly know what that does to me, but I have a hard time because of how much Next Jump has done for me in terms of my own development. And why I say this is I was just, in short, I was the dumb twin. And I've had a hard time getting over this and kind of accepting this, that I hid it for a long time. This notion of LHF came from me because I knew I wasn't the smart one. Like, I knew she was smarter than me. I knew when she brought home A's, I worked really hard. So I didn't get terrible grades, but God, did I have to work hard. You know, my 7th grade teacher told my mother, after my mother was asking, why is Meghan getting C's and Erin getting A's? And she said, after a lot of back and forth, she just blurts out, because Meghan's just not that smart. That was her response, my 7th grade teacher. And then, you know, applying to colleges, we both wanted to go to Villanova. Of course, Erin gets in. I don't. I mean, I just went through a lot. And then I ended up going to Fairfield University, loved it. Met my husband there, amazing, learned a ton. But I find Next Jump as an internship in 98. And I mean, manual labor was my thing. I was like a local sales intern. I worked my ass off, sold. We were a print business back then. It's like crazy. It was completely different. Worked really hard. 9/11 hits. We go down to 4 people. I think because I was just really hardworking, Charlie keeps me. I remember thinking I would go back to Boston, but he keeps me. And before you know it, 21 years go by. But in that process, the number of times I would ask Charlie, why me? Why are you coaching me? Why are you helping me? I ended up running our merchant business, which is, 10 years ago is what made all of our revenues. It was an advertising business. We charged merchant clients. And I remember saying, why do you think I can do this? And, why me? And his response was always, why not you? Why not you? And I remember thinking, because I'm the dumb one. Like, I don't understand why you think I can do this. And hearing the story about his impediments and all the challenges he had, like, he saw you can work through anything, that anybody can do anything. And he definitely imparted that on me. I mean, but the expectations, we talk about expectations in our culture. I mean, the feedback app has it built in. Nobody has higher expectations than Charlie. And I lived through that. I went through a lot of hard times with Charlie on this. And lo and behold, all of a sudden I'm being promoted to be the co-CEO of the company in 2016. And it feels like a blur. Like, I don't know how this happened and how I found my niche at Next Jump. But what fires me up and what gets me so upset, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, a little more detail, is that more companies don't do this, that companies don't take care of their employees, that they don't help develop them. They just say, next. They fire you and they think somebody else is going to be better. And it's such an issue. I mean, it's happening everywhere, even in schools. Let's see, I want to go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. This is my family, my husband and my 2 little boys. Brendan, 6, is wearing the Yankee jersey, which is like, if we had girls, they'd be Red Sox fans. If they're boys, they'd be Yankee fans. And we had 2 boys. But anyway, so we're Yankee fans. Anyway, sorry, John McDonald, we're Yankee fans. It's awful. So anyway, Matthew and Brendan. So Matthew's on the right. He's my 9-year-old, the sweetest boys in the world. But Brendan is really struggling in school. It is, he's in kindergarten. He's repeating kindergarten. It is one of the hardest things I've ever gone through being a mom. And the inferiority complex I had growing up in my first 21 years, it hit me again like a tidal wave when I had Brendan, because it's just not coming easy for him. Academics is just not coming easy. And he doesn't have the grit, and sort of like, he opts out a lot. He's a big LHFer. And the inferiority I feel, or kind of the hypocritical piece that I feel, is that, we were recognized by Harvard for being the expert in adult development when it comes to any organization actually doing this in practice, not in theory, actually doing it in practice. And I can't help my own kid. And so it drives me crazy. So it's a big part of why we've built an after-school program here. We've said it's going to become a company problem. So my problem is a company problem, because I can't get to work. I can't use my brain when I'm worried about my kid. And it's why Coach Mackey is here helping. It's a company problem. I don't know how I would function. I could come in and do manual work. I could sell the guidebooks. I could walk the streets. I could chambermaid. I could do all the manual labor you're asking me to do. Nothing is beneath me, but I can't think when I'm worried about my kid. Not to mention my 9-year-old was born without his left ear. He's got a bunch of different challenges. I just find it so hard. But the fact that Next Jump makes it my problem is, and so then I think about the military, who give up so much to defend our country. Is Steve Scheich, I always say his name wrong, in the Air Force. He's the head of the Air Force Chaplain Corps. I have so much respect for this man. We've run academies just for him and his team, because what he said at our Avenger ceremony hit me so hard about the suicide rates and the bad shit that happens when people have no place to like bring their full self. You're not allowed to have a bad day in the Navy, I hear. You're not allowed to bring these problems to work. Well, they're happening at work. And instead of actually having a place where you can let it out, you're expected to hold it in. And when you hold it in, and you hold it in long enough, eventually you blow. And this is where the most extreme suicide rates are so astronomical. I mean, it's also in high schools, and now it's starting at like 7 years old. It scares the shit out of me, because it needs to be a company problem. It has to be set up. It has to be set up in the bones of the organizations that you work for, because once it becomes a problem and you see it, it is too late. And everybody's medicating. I mean, the number of people I know who are on depression medication, it makes me so mad, just in terms of the injustice. I feel like companies could help and they don't help. And, even yesterday, the parent teacher, my 9-year-old's 3rd grade teacher, comes up to me running over to the elevators. I'm leaving. And she said, "Oh, Megan, she was going to help out in our summer camp. And she's like, I just want you to know I can't do it because I'm not well." And I said, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm not well, like mentally, like her mental health. I'm seeing someone and I have to leave school a lot. And the kids understand why I have to leave. They're so supportive." And like, I kind of know some of her history with her fiance, but some bad stuff happened. And I don't understand why the school's not helping, that you can't find a half an hour in the week to coach each other. Like, it drives me crazy. It's like the thing that anyways, this is like what kind of ignites me in the anger I feel, because I've experienced the power of a developmental organization, and an organization that takes care of you, whatever you need, so you can get your brain back, so you can think, so you can do the things that you need to do. But I see all around us in education and in for-profit and nonprofits, they just don't know what to do. And I'm not mad at them. I'm just mad that people fight us with academic stuff and research. And I'm like, God, in practice, this is totally doable. You can help each other. You can set up a community of people to help each other. It should be baked in. You should have to do it as an organization. It shouldn't be a choice. And so that's why that's what kind of gets me out of bed every morning. That's what gives me the courage to kind of continue this fight, because I've experienced it myself. And anyways, I just wanted to share that with you all, kind of where that all comes from. And I'm kind of excited, especially working with the Navy, like what is possible. I mean, I am beyond excited about the influence that that can have to then impact all the other organizations, because when the people who are influential do it, everybody will do it, because it's the right thing to do. So, all right. Thank you. Thanks, Boston.